Welcome to another episode of Roll with the Fox. We're live on two platforms. Don't even say anything. Two platforms. YouTube, which is every Friday, and then we're also, it's my pleasure to be back on the BJJ Fanatics Facebook page. So guys, start asking questions. As you know, the format is such that the questions coming in live get priority over the ones that were sent in. We usually start with a topic and then we take over as the live questions come in. So guys, I got a question from Dennis Dolazal about a guillotine, which is one of my favorite weapons. And his question was, what do I do if the guy defends, if he's blocking, either he's protecting his neck, tucking it in, or protecting with his hands? So, Dennis didn't think it was in my instructional. It is. It's a very simple topic, but it applies to everything else we do in Jiu-Jitsu.
And if they want to double check, they can buy the instructionals in BJJ Fanatics.
Guys, the guillotine instructional in BJJ Fanatics has like 3+ hours of instruction. Pretty much I downloaded everything I know about guillotine at the time, when we filmed it. But one of the most fundamental aspects of my style of jiu-jitsu is if the guy is successfully defending something, what do? You guys can chime in. If you've been watching for a while, you know the answer. The answer is you change it up. Well, if somebody's hell-bent on defending that technique, chances are they're going to succeed in defending that technique. And if you insist on it, you're going to go down. You're like a horse with blinders on, and you're going to go down a path where he's eventually going to take it away from you, and you missed all the other opportunities. So let's just go from there. So if he's right now, Enrique's not even letting me get my hands in. I cannot even get my grip. If that's the case, and I'm having a hard time, what I usually do is from here, I just pop up, back step, and pull. Okay? Now, why can I do that? You can do it pretty fast, but it's a big movement. Why can I do it? Because he's doing everything, all his energy, all his mental strength, all his defenses are focused on protecting the neck and having a decent base. So when that happens, if I cannot get anywhere, back step and pull. Okay? Now, what happens if I get my hands in? I actually connect. Posture up, Enrique, for me, please, so they can see my hands. So my hands are connected, but they're not, and he starts to tuck in his chin. If that's the case, guys, anytime somebody starts tucking their chin like this, they're not driving forward. They're not trying to get on top of you. Again, they're like retracting. Okay? They're retreating. If that's the case, I just plow right through him. So if I connected my hands, I just push. I don't push straight into him, but diagonally across. From here, I'm going to show you. Yeah, this is a very bad position for Enrique. Okay, a lot of times you can get a quick submission on this choke. So anytime you have somebody defending successfully, again, almost by definition, you need to move on. You need to do something else. So there's sort of an in-between where you get a connection, but he brings your hands down towards. So if his hands, so if you make a connection, posture off for a second, and he draws your hands down, so he's basically pulling your hands. If that's the case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to step over, pull him, and now I'm on his back. So a lot of times, when the guy successfully, or at least well enough, defends the neck, the back take is a logical answer. Just like when you're attacking the turtle, meaning north-south, I can spin around to his back. So if sometimes I can also just spin around. Okay? So the back take, be it where I back step over and pull him back with me, be it that he kind of brings his hands, or rather he grabs my hands and pulls him down towards his hips. Or if he's just kind of not letting me get a good grip, I can always pivot around to his back. So that's, generally speaking, sort of the backup plan to attacking guillotine. Guys, don't insist on something. I taught a seminar, and the guy I'm teaching sort of an omoplata is like, I want to finish with an omoplata. Well, that is fine and dandy. You can do that if you set it up properly, and the guy's giving you that look. However, a lot of times you can do other things if he's giving you a different look. A lot of times you can sweep the guy. Well, I don't want to sweep the guy. Well, if you're going to be insisting on one single thing, your success rate is going to be relatively low against high-level practitioners. You need to see the opportunities that he's giving you, because around that defense. So he's focusing all his energies on particular defense. If you attack, good technique, good timing. There's a lot of things that are open, and you need to see them and act upon it. Mike, what do we got?
All right, so everybody's saying, hey, good morning. And the first question that we have is from Elad Sapir. He's asking, hey, Fox, can you explain what exactly K-guard is and how do you use it, and what are your best offenses from it?
Okay, that's a good question. So guys, it's kind of an interesting concept. I use the terminology K-guard. To me, it's not so much as a guard, because for me, I view a guard as something that you need to be able to maintain for more than a split second, or for a second. It's something that is more permanent, or you can kind of stay there for 10, 15, 20 seconds. In my mind, K-guard is more of a transition rather than a position or a guard, if that makes sense. Now, I actually like to use K-guard quite a lot. I've been using it for a long time, and it's continually evolving for me. Again, at the time, I just basically referred to it as, this is what I do when the guy rips out of my armbar. But now I think K-guard is good terminology for it. So a lot of times I set it up. So especially, this is a good question for NoGi. So where I'm going for, the guy tries to stand up in my guard, and I'm attempting an armbar, and he pulls out. So when that happens, guys, that's why I'm, with NoGi, especially when you don't have solid grips and you're going with a high-level guy, almost for sure he's going to be able to squash your armbar. So, but this is good because he has to pull out. So he's giving me access to his legs. So I was already hooked in under his leg to make sure that, I get a position for an armbar. So if he pulls out, I just continue with it. I just go in. Guys, sometimes if his shin is closed, you cannot get your head inside. But if I can get my head inside, I will. So I transition my right foot from his left hip to the other hip, and I usually try to weave in. From here, it's a very easy attack, and
Tap.
that's a finish. So let's go over that again. This is one of my favorite transitions. So again, I will attack that arm. It's not a fake. People ask me, like, you fake. No, it's not a fake. It's a real attempt at an armbar. If he doesn't react, I will armbar him. So Enrique's in my guard. He postures up. He didn't react. I armbar him. I still armbar him. He starts to pull out. I transition. So I move from under his armpit to the hip. If I can, it's better to have your head inside, but it's the same move even if you do not. Push. And from here, guys, it's pretty easy. Submission.
Tap.
So that's how I use K-guard. Obviously, it's named because the way your legs are positioned just before you get the entries. And I like the terminology, but again, I would probably, I use it, same terminology, but I look at it more as a transition rather than actually a guard. But there's a lot of guards that I don't consider guards in Jiu-Jitsu. Mike, what else we got?
And from Facebook, we have Christian Roulette. He's asking, hey guys, Fox, what's your favorite half guard top pass?
Oh, yeah, that's a good topic. So, if I'm actually going to give you two answers.
Is half guard a guard?
It is. It is. So that's a good question. So when I'm on top of half guard, right? And this is, you know, the answer is going to heavily depend on exactly how he plays half guard. But a lot of times I just wrap a guillotine. Okay? So I'm basically wrapping his head, and I want to make sure that my hand goes in front of my torso. Right now I'm not looking to finish. I'm just looking to control his head and his torso basically by pulling and making sure that my hand is anchored on my torso. From here, I start to sprawl to make sure I don't get swept. I will now then put my weight to my left hip, and from here, I'm giving Enrique a dilemma. Defend the neck or defend the guard. He cannot do both. All right? So Enrique decides to basically defend the neck. I will generally start to move out of the guard. It's actually relatively easy. So if his hands go to protect the neck, I just walk my foot up and start to pass. From here, guys, you should be able to get a guard pass. All right, again, I'm leaning on my hip. Enrique, can you pivot around a little bit so they can see my hips? So notice the position of my left foot. It's not here. That's a quick sweep, okay? All right, I'm resting on my hip. I'm looking for this underhook if I can get it. But a lot of times, even if I don't, I can put his legs back in. Even if he closes the legs, I just move my knee, and then I can pass the guard. Now, if Enrique basically now, if he defends his guard, and therefore his hands move down to stop me from passing the guard, I attack the neck. So basically by using the guillotine, my guys are just onto it so much at this point that I use the guillotine as a threat that he has to devote his attention either to stopping my hips or protecting his neck. Once, you know, as he's going, sometimes guys start pushing the hips, then go back to the neck. I will take whatever, again, this ties into the topic before, I take whatever he's not defending, and then I progress my position. The second one, this is just purely a guard pass. Make sure they can see my legs. So, if I'm in half guard, guys, first thing I take away is I pivot my foot away. I cannot tell you how many times I see guys passing half guard and with the foot prone to attack and scorpion, okay? Take it away, okay? This is my number one priority. So when the guy sweeps you from top of half guard, from the bottom half guard, I'm sorry, eventually he's gonna go perpendicular, but he needs to start to line things up when he's somewhat lined up with you, especially trapping that inside leg. So there's almost two traps if you want to think about it. If he controls your knee and then he controls your foot, okay? So almost by definition in half guard, he's going to control your knee. I do not want to let him control my foot because that misalignment starts to cause you to position your body in ways that you don't want to do because that's going to make you prone to a sweep, all right? So first things when I get in half guard, so I just sweep my foot away. This is literally the first thing. I will sit over and I want to go close to his hips and I want to control that arm. Right now, I'm not concerned about cross face and I pin it close. From here, I will bring my foot up. And right now, he's still controlling my knee, but as soon as, usually I'll go underneath. And once my knee pops out, if I wasn't wearing the knee brace, it would pop out a little easier. You don't have to do it. I'll make it happen. So this is, I push with, guys, don't reach with your hand. Push with your elbow, okay? So as I push with my elbow, now the foot has slipped. So depends how he reacts. Notice again, can you see my left foot?
Yeah.
Where it's positioned. So this is kind of bracing me from him trying to get on top. Now, if he stays where we are, I'm going to slightly raise my hips and I slide my left knee in. From here, I will just use my hands or my elbows to basically strip his legs. So it's pretty easy. And I just kick out. The best part is right now, so I switch my legs. As he's coming on top, it's pretty easy for me to get back on top. The other way is also I stay with the underhook on his far left. So right arm under the left leg. So, because sometimes guys try to time it. So again, first thing I do is remove my left leg. I start to walk it up and I start to push with my elbow. A lot of times, if he stays really tightly locked, I go under the leg. From here, I know he's going to try to time him. But in order for him to bust up on top, he needs to open his legs. So if he opens his legs before you slide your left knee in, as you just kick out. Now watch what happens. Even if he follows, this hand is very strong. Even up here, I just punch through. Yes. And I wind up on top of side control. That underhook under his knee is very powerful. You could almost be this far back and just punch that arm through and get on top. So it's going to be very difficult for him to get on top. So those are my two favorite half guard passes. The guillotine thread, it's serious. If he doesn't defend the neck, I will put the guillotine on. Once the guy feels the pressure of the constriction, his hands come up. Now he's not defending your hips passing his guard. You get a better position to guard pass, and eventually he has to make a choice. Okay. Second one is I go perpendicular to make sure that I don't get swept easily. I have balance on both sides, and then I start to pick them apart. I hope that makes sense. What else we got, Mike?
And Gilbert Lopez says, that's amazing. You make it look so easy.
It's a lot of practice, guys. I'm not talented. It's just a lot of practice. So, again, guys, that's a good topic. I want to make sure that this gets through. There's a lot of stuff out there. There's a lot of instructionals. There's a lot of information. It's almost impossible to absorb. Well, no, not almost. It's impossible to absorb it all. Whether you're a relatively beginner or whether you're an advanced practitioner, you need to make sure that you kind of work on things that are relevant to your game. Which means that if you're like purple belt, there's just so much information you could be absorbing. At that point, you have really solid basics. You're way past sort of just the fundamentals. You also start to build your own style of game. Adopt things from teachers that are most important to your game, that are going to help you progress and get through the defenses or offenses that your training partners or other competitors put on you.
And we have another one from KDB. He says, greetings from Northern Ontario. Love your instructionals from BJJ Fanatics. I got them all. I've been able to develop a combo of offensive and defensive game, whereas previously I was in either one or the other.
Nice. That's a good combination.
And another question that we have, this is from Tom Dodal. He's asking,
Hi, Tom.
what back defense do you have when the hooks are in and they have a seatbelt grip and are transitioning to either the weak or strong side? Cheers.
Did Enrique pay you off? So, are we talking about MMA context? So, the first things I need to worry about. So, I need to protect my neck. That's the first thing. Always, guys, when you're in the danger of immediate submission, you need to protect your neck. So one hand has to go protect the neck. Notice also how my body's positioned. So I'm not kind of like this. My body is immediately positioned to an escape. All right, so I drop my right leg. I don't want sort of space here because Enrique can underhook and put me back to the other side. Okay, so I drop my leg, and if I can, so Enrique is controlling my left hand. I need to make sure that I don't have this crossed over with his leg, because that's going to become much harder. So I keep my elbows tight to my torso, but also kind of high so he cannot easily do that. Now, at some point I like to get 2-on-1, but right now it's still not in the cards. So I manage sort of continually try to swim. All right. Once I get 2-on-1, now I'm relatively safe. So my leg starts to migrate. So one hook starts to slip. Now, as Enrique's falling, I'm looking to put my head on the floor. From here, it depends. I know right now he's going to try to mount. So I try to strip the hand to make sure that this does not become a threat. But also, this buys me a little bit of time. I don't know if you guys can see. So his leg is draped under my lower back. So my feet are on the floor, but they're very light because I'm trying to put a lot of my weight on his leg because that makes it difficult for him to come up. All right? Guys, pay good attention because this is not good for my back. And from here, I will shrimp and go. So basically what I do is when I strip that first hook, I'm putting myself on the floor in a way that, yes, he can follow up, he can try to mount, but me laying with my lower back and posting most of my lower body weight on that leg slows down how quickly he can come up. That's what I'm looking for. All right, so let's look at it one more time. So again, right now I have 2-on-1, which is better than what I had before. I start to basically look, I want to have my elbows, if I can, inside the legs. This is better. All right? If my elbows are outside, he controls all this space between my upper leg up to my armpits. This way he controls just the hips, which is enough. It's bad, but not as bad as before. I'm trying to swim inside to make sure that he cannot execute a quick choke. Once I'm laying here, it's pretty easy for me to get over this leg. From here again, I'm trying to get this, and as he's coming up, it's going to be very slow because I'm trapping his bottom leg. And from here, I do a big shrimp. And from here, I'll deal with however it works out. Anything you can accomplish other than being mounted is a good job.
And time is up, but right before we close out, we got a quick comment from Zoomed Out. He said, excellent seminar on Wednesday, Fox. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah. And guys, we're out of time. Mike, do we have any other? Yeah, I see you squinting your eyes on the screen. Guys, we'll see you next Friday, 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Don't make me punch you in the head. We'll see you next time, guys.
Guys, like, share, subscribe. Tell your training partners, family members, girlfriends, everybody to buy the DVDs also.